And so if you can take a quick breath and then follow that obviously by a deep breath so that you can actually change your pace. Because what research has shown is we only have 5 seconds, literally 5 seconds before your prefrontal cortex, that little, forepart of your brain, the command center. You only have 5 seconds before the prefrontal cortex gets hijacked by our inner mammalian brain, which is called the amygdala. The amygdala is the inner brain portion, the more ancient part of our brain where, it kind of goes into like reactive mode, fight or flight, And so the prefrontal cortex has 5 seconds for you to kind of short circuit that hijacking by the amygdala. And usually you can refire the prefrontal cortex by a go-to word. And I gotta say, I learned this from my favorite author, Dr. Brene Brown. She is so amazing, where her word that she's taught me is pain. So what you want to do is you take your quick breath, you take a deep breath, and then you quickly say, pain, 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 pain. And then what that does is it then brings the firing right up of your prefrontal cortex, which then, kind of brings you back to being a little bit more logical and sensible. And it turns on that command center so that you could actually then move on to step 2, which is, you get to clearly think and choose the response that you want to give in that situation. And obviously you want to be thinking of how the best possible version of yourself at that point in time, how you would want to respond to that situation. And so usually when I kind of get to that mode already, I'm either saying, I get it, or I use humor. So that's the third thing. I use humor to dissipate the tension. And why not? With Kelvin, usually I'll either nudge him and I'll make a silly face. And more often than not, we're both bursting out laughing by then. It is such a good tool, you guys. I cannot stress that enough. It has worked time and time again. So I highly encourage you guys to give that a try. I mean, seriously, during these times of, sort of being confined in one space for such long periods of time and then having the kids around you all the time and, everybody needs attention. Like we literally are spending tons of time, homeschooling the kids, doing projects with the kids, and then also having to, share in the household chores and just, the day-to-day. And then, of course, just everything added together. It can get a little overwhelming. But then if you use these little tips and tricks, I find, it can really, really, if not improve your relationship, it can at least save you from having like a big blow up. So please give those a try. So to recap, what are the 3 things that we have suggested is for the women? Number 1, ask for what you need and what you want in a clear, concise manner. So if it's just for them to listen, make sure you tell them, I want you to listen without giving me any suggestions. Okay? And the second thing is acknowledge him, affirm him. Say, what a great idea, hon. That is so awesome. I really like your idea. And the third thing, give him man time. You can designate an hour. You can designate 2 hours if you can put up with that. Like any amount of time. And you guys can agree upon that amongst yourselves. So that's for the women to ask for the men. The men, what are the 3 things you can do is number 1, listen, right? Listen. Super simple, without judgment, without giving solutions, without giving suggestions, just listen. Second thing, say, I understand, honey, I understand. So just do what she asks you. Like, it's not like every day that we're going to ask you to do like a gazillion number of things. So just give in once in a while. And number 3, show her that you love her by doing small gestures. That is so appreciated. And honestly, truly, your woman will love you for that. So those are the 3 things from each of you. Now, one caveat that I wanted to put in there is that, I say men and women, and I kind of very, very generally put those genders in. But, truthfully, there could be a little bit of a mix. You may be a little bit more male than female, and vice versa. And here's the thing. Here's the reason why I say that is because, you know, say for example, between me and Kelvin, I mean, he's actually the more in touch with his feminine side kind of guy. Like, he's a lot more sensitive, and, you know, he's more actually, you know, we kind of have role reversal in our family. So generally speaking, his needs are actually more like sort of, he needs to ask me what he needs and wants, and, you know, say, hey, great idea to me, more so than me asking him. And at the same time, I'm sort of like, you know, the more sort of, I'd say I'm a little bit more dominated by my testosterone, and I actually prefer that, you know, that he asks me those things and, you know, affirms me, you know, and, you know, tells me that, hey, I'm doing this right or whatever. And in turn, you know, I need to actually provide him my ear and actually be more understanding and more supportive in my listening role. So yeah, we've got a little bit of a role reversal in those first 2 points, but he still, you know, with his testosterone being low, he needs his man cave time. So that is one thing that does not change in role reversal. Somehow biologically, he still needs his man cave time. And for me, biologically, in my estrogenness, I still need him to show me in small gestures that he really cares for me and really, really cherishes me. So there are certain things that might actually be role reversal, but the fundamental of man cave time, it still belongs to the male, and the show me that you love me is still very female in that sense. Now, to recap, you know, the 3 little things that Kelvin and I do for each other on a day-to-day basis when it's more challenging times, or, you know, when it's like literally quick response time. Number 1, remember that breath. Quick breath, then deep breath, because sometimes when you're reacting, there's no way you're going to be taking a deep breath right off the bat. So we do quick breath, deep breath. And then we go to a word. I usually say pain, 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 pain. And, you know, when I'm able to choose a better response, which for me generally is to use humor to dissipate the tension, that is as easy and simple as I can get. I am so excited that I got to do this episode with you guys, because this has been actually one of my favorite episodes that I've prepared for. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I hope this episode has gotten your creative juices flowing, you know, because, you know, I want to help you handle the increase in tension that we're facing on a daily basis now. You know, everybody is staying home, and we are kind of in the midst of everything together. I want to say a really special thank you to Dr. John Gray for inspiring me to change my perspective on relationships. Without finding his book and, you know, literally being able to learn from him these past few years, I don't think I would have come this far. So I want to really thank him for that. And I want to thank him also for helping me maneuver these tricky moments, you know, because I have now been able to kind of reach for the best version of myself. Thank you so much, Dr. John. And if you too have picked up a few nuggets of wisdom, please put them into action and share this episode and the positive changes with your friends and family. I would so appreciate that, and I am so looking forward to hearing your feedback. Please email me at healthywisdomseries@gmail.com to share with me, or comment on my Facebook posts, or leave me a review. I would totally love that. I am so looking forward to exploring some more with you on our next episode, and I really look forward to seeing you guys soon.